Welcome back, everyone. My name is Traap. Tonight we're going to answer a viewer's question, and we're going to delete my TMUX configuration and show you how I go about setting up TMUX on a new computer. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of the shortcuts that I use. One is an alias, and it's called last. It's just going to look for TMUX. It's going to look for symbolic links in the directory that I'm currently in. So I'm going to pipe the results of last into ripgrep, and I'm going to look for TMUX. And we're going to find a couple symbolic links. There's the comp file and there's a directory. I've already deleted the directory, but the way I would delete the directory is I just do an rm-rf-tmux, and that nukes the entire directory. So TMUX is gone. When the symbolic link is there, it would point to my get directory TMUX. Okay. So now when we run TMUX, we're going to get that lime green color. So you've got now this is your basic TMUX, no configuration at all. You can see what the status bar looks like at the bottom of the screen. So what you can do to do your normal splits is your leader key for TMUX at this point is a Ctrl-B. So you do your Ctrl-B and a %, and you get a split. Now remember with TMUX, splits are on the axis. So that was a horizontal split because you split the x-axis. A vertical split is splitting on the y-axis. So to do that, we do a Control-B, and then we do the double quote. So Control-B, double quote gives you that split. To navigate by default, you're going to do things like Control-B and use your arrow key. So Control-B and Control-B and up, and Control-B down, Control-B right. So there's your basic TMUX navigation. Now, something that I would encourage you to use is if you take a look, there's a shortcut that I find to be very useful. I will put this in my links at the end of this video, but I find this to be a very useful site right here where you can find information about TMUX as far as what you can type and some of the basic commands. So you've got sessions command, you have Windows commands, and you have panes. So remember, a session contains a window and Windows contains panes. So we can have multiple sessions with multiple windows, and within each window you can have multiple sessions. So it can get rather complicated keeping track of everything. But this site here has got some really good information on some basic things you can do with TMUX. So with this back to my configuration, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at my install script that I use. I'm going to explain what that does. So we'll hop over to my YouTube directory, and I'm going to go into a TMUX directory that I have here, and we're going to look at a script called installTMUX. And this script text will make this text a little bigger for you guys. So those of you who've seen my other videos, you know I use a lot of folding. So the folds here are set up so I can navigate pretty quickly between the folds, and I can just kind of focus on the areas of the text that I want to look at. The script is very simple to follow. It's just a simple bash script. A couple things you want to take a look at when you're looking at this script is on line 4, you're specifying the source and destination of where you want things cloned. So GitHub home for me is my root directory /get. And then I am going to be cloning my TMUX configuration. So if you change lines 4 and 5, you could use this script for yourself to set up TMUX. One of the things that I do use is a TMUX plugin manager. So you're used to using plugins from LazyVim. TMUX has its own style of plugins, so we will run the install script for that. But this script is really straightforward. You can see it's going to delete the symbolic links, recreate them. It's going to then clone a couple repos, and then it's going to load the plugins. And that's really all this script is doing. So you can see that RM commands there that I use to delete things. There's the creating of the symbolic links, and there is the cloning of the TMUX. Pretty straightforward code, really easy to follow. And then here's your final cloning of the plugins. Now this TMUX plugin install, we're going to take a look at that in just a minute after we run it. Then I got a couple echo commands here so you can see what I'm doing. So what we've done is we've cleared the screen. We're going to run the install command, and we're going to see it blow out a bunch of information on the console. So you can see there's that deleting of the symbolic links, creating the symbolic links. Now it's going to start the clone operation. It's going to run the plugins. and it's going to load the plugins, and you can see the plugins are being installed. That's very similar to LazyVim and the way LazyVim installs plugins. And with that, now we have TMUX reloaded. So the clone operation is finished. I'm now in my TMUX directory. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually run my instance of TMUX, and we're going to see a couple changes. So notice that green status bar is gone. So on the bottom of my screen, I've got the name of the computer, the operating system, the name of the session, the name of the window, and the pane number. And then over on the right-hand side, I've got, you know, the amount of time the system's been up, time and date, that sort of thing. Okay, you can customize that any way you want. I just chose to do it this way, so I've been sticking with this format for a few years. So now that I have TMUX running, I'm going to go ahead and hop into Neovim. And if you've never used NeoTree, I am using NeoTree. I've got some hidden files in there, so the H unhides things. So we are going to take a look at this TMUX-navigator script in just a minute. But on the TMUX configuration side, we want to just take a look at this script right here. We're going to make that text just a little bit bigger again. And so what we're going to look at to start with is this is how you change that later key. So you unbind the Ctrl-B, and then you bind whatever key you want. So this is Control Space, and that's the way I get the Control key to work. So now that I have a new Control key, my mapping is a little more similar to what LazyVim does. So one of the things we also want to look at is TMUX can be reloaded. So we're gonna make a couple quick changes, and then we're gonna reload it. So I'm going to show you that those changes actually take effect in real time. So we're going to take a look at some binding keys that I use. So I'm going to get rid of bind J and bind S. So if I do it, I'm going to get rid of bind S and bind dash. So if I do a leader Control space dash, it's going to create a split. So there's that Control space, there's that split. Now I'm going to navigate back and forth using that Ctrl-K and Ctrl-L, and I'm going to explain how that's getting done in just a minute. So I'm going to get rid of the S and the dash, and I'm going to also get rid of the V and the L. I'm going to demonstrate the pipe works first. So we'll do Control space pipe. Now I've got a split, and I'm navigating with that Ctrl-H, J, and K. So now I'm going to delete these things, and then I'll just reload them with, I'll save the file, and I'll reload them with the leader R, and we'll notice at the bottom of the screen my TMUX is loaded. Now if I try to do that Control dash or Control, if I try to do the Control space, actually it worked. It's not supposed to work. That's interesting. Oh, that might be a D. Oh, I didn't unbind it. That's why. Can't just delete it. I got to unbind it. Yeah, we got to do. I did that wrong. So let me do it correctly. So I got to do an unbind dash unbind S, and then over here I have to do unbind pipe and unbind. That's spelled wrong. Unbind, what was it, V? Now we'll save that file, and then we're going to Control leader R, and we got it reloaded. And now the control pipe should not work. Good. Okay, so the Ctrl-L splits, but Control pipe does not split. Control pipe. Okay, so I forgot to unbind it that first time. So unbind keys you don't want, you just remember to use the unbind key. So now that's the basic navigation capability of TMUX that I wanted to make sure everybody understood. So what we're going to see next is we're going to go ahead and take a look at that TMUX navigator. This is actually TMUX code. It's worth taking a quick look at, because you're going to see that it's doing some bind keys with the end, and it's using the Ctrl-H, and if it's doing an if shell, it's doing some things with Vim. So it can send the Ctrl-H into Vim, and it sends it to the pane, the left, down, up, and right. Okay, so that's what's going on with that first section. And then you can see at the bottom there's some copy mode commands that are going on as well. Okay, also going to install another distribution. So if you recall from one of my other videos, I've got this nvim script that you can run, and what we're going to install is TMUX, the baretmux. Okay, so this is a LazyVim installation, minimal installation for LazyVim, and it includes two plugins that allow us to work and cooperate nicely with TMUX. And I'm going to show you why I do that. So we're going to actually install 2 versions of LazyVim right now. One that supports TMUX and one that does not. And I'm going to show you how we do that. Now I will install the bare bones version of LazyVim that I've used in other videos. And we're going to do that by just typing in bare, and we're going to bare bones. We're going to clone that repository. It's a really small repository. The entire init file is about 60 lines of code. And now we're in that process of bootstrapping LazyVim right now. So what we're going to do is when this one loads up, we're going to compare these two side by side. And when that's done, I'll get back to you. Okay, I've got 2 instances of LazyVim running. On the right, on my right-hand side, I've got baretmux. On my left-hand side, I've got barebones. You can see their startup time is blazingly fast, 15.59 and 15.2 mils. Really nice startup time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the init file in both. Well, first we're going to take a look at the plugins that are loaded. And I'm going to be using my mouse for just a minute, and I'll explain why I'm doing that in a few seconds. The difference between these 2 instances is the instance on my right, which is the TMUX barebones. You can see that I have 2 plugins, a vim-tmux-navigator and a vim-tmux-runner. That's the only difference between these two environments. We're going to take a look at the init file, just kind of see what's going on with the init file on both sides. And we'll do the init over here as well. And you can see that for demonstration purposes for tonight, I commented out all the extra stuff so they're more the same. It's going to want to apply some stuff, so we're going to go ahead and let Lazy do its thing, because it doesn't really matter to me for right now. But if we look at the configuration of these 2 files, ignore the syntax errors for right now, because when we restart, that'll go away. And then when the workspace finishes, the information will go away. So if you notice, I can go in here and normally I would just delete this stuff. So we'll go ahead and delete it. And why isn't that working? There we go. So we got that deleted. We write it out. Okay, so those 2 files look almost the same now. So the difference between the right and left hand side is what's on line 18. I'm importing for the TMUX version. I import the plugin directory. Over here I do not. Okay, so if I quit this one, because we just saw me delete some stuff, we'll quit it and get out and go right back in. We're going to see that we still have the 16 plugins. We do the find file, we go right back into the init file. We can see that that file is super small. It's only got 39 lines of code in it, and this other one, it's got 42 lines of code in it. Okay, so there's not a lot going on in these 2 files. So the other thing I want to do is we take a look at, I'm also doing between the 2 on baretmux. I was playing around with match it and match paren. I just left those turned on. So those plugins, I disabled them, I should say. Whereas this on this side over here, I did not disable. So it's okay. Minor differences. But the next thing we want to take a look at is we want to go ahead and use the file explorer so you can see the tree. And it got this plugin. We have a single file that we're using to configure the TMUX plugins. So let's walk through that really quick because it is important. So we're going to go over here and take a look at that file, and those commands don't work with this keyboard. This instance doesn't know my keystroke. So, okay, a couple things you need to know about the TMUX Navigator. Chris Toomey has written this vim-tmux-navigator. This plugin is excellent. It works with Neovim and it works for Vim. If you haven't tried it, try it in both. It's simple, it's simple to use, easy to set up. You can see all the configuration I've done right here. So basically, I use that plugin's defaults. By default, that plugin does define Ctrl-H, J, K, and L exactly the way you see them in the source here. The problem is LazyVim also defines those keys. And so because LazyVim is reading the key, it's config init, LazyVim is reading the Lua config Lua key binding file. That's where these files, that's where these keys are defined. So we have to override those because those files are actually read first. So we're overriding those right now when this plugin gets loaded. So that's pretty straightforward. TMUX-Runner, I'm going to give you an example of what that's doing, but that's going to allow me to create a TMUX split and send commands to it. It's a very useful plugin, but if you don't want to use the runner, then all you need to do for the navigator is just use that first 15 lines of code, and that's it, and you'll get the navigator. Okay, So now that I have the two set up, let me show you why I do this. So I'm in TMUX right now, and I'm in Neovim on both sides, and I want to create a split. So that would be a leader S. I'm sorry, what is it in this letter? Leader, that thing? Yeah. So leader, that thing? Yeah, okay. So which key is telling me that the split is the pipe and it's the dash? Okay, cool. So if I use my mouse, I go over here and I do leader dash, I got a split. Now I'm going to navigate up and down with the HJK key on this side. So I'm going up and down as fast as I can type. That's exactly what I expect. Now what I desire is to move from TMUX, that's running Neovim on the left side of my screen, to TMUX that's running Neovim on the right side of my screen. That's not going to work. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck right here. I can't get out, okay? So I have to move my mouse. But notice when I'm in the other instance of Lazy, I can navigate back, okay? That's because of what TMUX Navigator is doing. So what we'll do here is we're doing only here, and this is going to get a little crazy. But we're going to navigate back over here, and you can see I'm going to navigate around those windows without a problem inside of TMUX. That's TMUX Navigator is doing that. We're going to close these windows, and we can't use that keystroke. So now we're back to a single window open that's visible. So there's multiple buffers, but there's only a single view that's open right now. Now we're going to create some TMUX splits. So we're going to do that TMUX leader key and a J key. Now we got a split at the bottom. We'll navigate over, and we'll do another split. So now I'm in TMUX, and I can split from TMUX. I'm navigating from TMUX to TMUX. So that's a bash to bash in TMUX. Now I'm going from TMUX bash to up and down, back and forth, okay? So I get into the LazyVim with the default key bindings, I can't get out, okay? So that's what I'm doing, so I'm trying to solve that problem, right? So I said you could do this with Vim, so we'll clear the screen really quick and do Vim. I have that plugin loaded, so back and forth, I'm working, okay? So in this context, because I'm using that particular plugin, I can navigate, and I don't have to care about the target of what I'm running. I can just navigate. So as I'm over here, I don't think. I'm in Vim, here, what's the key binding? I want to go over here, what's the key binding? I'm in TMUX, what's the binding? I don't have to think about that stuff, right? So if I get completely out of this stuff all the way, get all the way out of TMUX, get out of all this stuff, and just get completely down to nothing. Now I'm down to nothing. So I'm just in a Alacrity shell is all I have right now. So I got a shell. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to run nvim bare-tmux. And I'm going to create a split. Okay, that's not the right key. Wrong key. Quit that. Don't care about that. I got to do that's the leader pipe. So I got a split. Great. I want to create another window. Now because I have a tiling desktop window manager, that's Alacrity, but I cannot use that Ctrl-H to move. Okay. So that is completely, those keys are bound to the session, to the TMUX, to the Vim that you're in, or Neovim that you're in. So if I get out of this, I'm back into here and I'm moving. I cannot create a TMUX session from Vim the way I have it set up, or Neovim right now the way I have it set up. That's not something I've tried to do right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to hop right back into TMUX, okay? And we're going to we're going to hop up to the bare-tmux directory. We're going to go right back into TMUX, and we're going to do some runner commands. So what we're going to do is we're going to run TMUX. We'll do TMUX, and we'll do bare. Let's see, that would be vim bare-tmux, and we're just going to go foo.txt. Don't really care, right? So we're going to type in commands like ls minus la. We'll type in top, and we'll type in bash top, and let's go ahead and do nvim. That's my personal instance of nvim. So the reason I'm doing this is we're going to use TMUX. We're going to tell Neovim through the TMUX-runner to open another TMUX split. All right, so my leader key is a T, so it's a leader T, and then I'm going to tell it to open a runner, so that's TO. So now I have a runner. Now because I've got that TMUX navigator, I can go back and forth between the two. Okay. Now I'm going to run a command called send line to the other session. So that's a leader TL, it just sent that line to that other session. Now I can navigate over there and I can do something else if I want to. So if I want to do the top command, I do leader TL, and it's going to now run the top command. If I navigate over to that other split, that TMUX split, I can navigate back. I don't get stuck. That's because of the way TMUX-navigator works, okay? So if I navigate into that window and I want to get out, I use whatever key is necessary to stop that bash top, and I think it's a Q. Clear the screen there. Let's do bash top. So we do send leader, so I quit that's wrong command. That's leader TL, so there's bash top running, okay? So you see in my computer running. I can navigate to that window with that Ctrl-L key. I can do whatever I want to do with bash top. I can quit it, bounce back over. If I want to do something, let's get rid of that and do, let's do, what is it, lazy zy git. I think that's what it's called. And it will be leader TL. There's lazy git running. So I'm just typing commands into a buffer and I'm sending a command over to another session. So you can do whatever you want with that. Now, if you've got, so let's do a quick recap of what I've shown you on the, I've got all the configurations up on the screen right now. I'm just going to use the mouse to kind of point around and show you stuff. So remember, I started with barebones, LazyVim, called it baretmux. We added this import statement to pick up the plugin directory. In the plugin directory, we've got a single file, tmux.lua. If you're only interested in the navigator, then this is the only thing you have to do is override those H, J, K, and L keys to send the commands tmux navigate left, down, up, and right, okay? If you want to use the tmux-runner, then you configure this other one. The default key bindings, I am not using the default key bindings for tmux-runner. I set my own. The documentation is really good. You could check those out as well, okay? On the right-hand side, I'm just showing you, I'm just reminding you that I have that install script that does the installation for you. The areas that you're going to want to care about is you might want to install it into a different location, and you may want to pull your configuration from a different place. So if you run this command, it will create sim links, it will put stuff in. So if you wanted to experiment with it, you know, you could change the way the sim links are worded so that you don't interfere with any TMUX configuration that you currently have. Look, I hope this has been useful to you. I hope it's giving you some ideas on how you can use TMUX. My name is Traap. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Please like and subscribe. Give me some comments. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and may God bless you.